Sometimes the loudest thing in a room is the silence. Today, we're diving into a story about those quiet spaces in a relationship, the moments that look peaceful on the surface but are actually screaming with everything that's been left unsaid. It's about how connection can just fade away in the quiet, and how sometimes the smallest thing can start to bring it back. And this line, this right here, is the heart of it all. It's not about an empty quiet, no. This is a silence that's heavy, just packed with feelings and frustrations and needs that have absolutely nowhere to go. It's the sound of a relationship coming apart at the seams. So let's meet Priya and Arjun. Our story kicks off with this idea of the unspoken silence. I mean, look at that subtitle. In the same bed but in different worlds. That says it all, doesn't it? And here's the picture. It's night. Priya is wide awake, just staring at the ceiling, feeling her heartache, crying these silent tears that he'll never see. She feels invisible. And then there's Arjun, right there next to her. But he's gone, lost in the endless scroll of his phone. That little flicker of light on his face with every swipe, it's like a wall between them. And the worst part? He knows. He can feel it. But he's actively choosing to pretend he doesn't. And that's the thing that really, really hurts. A gap like this, it doesn't just show up one day. It wasn't one huge fight. It was a slow, quiet erosion. It was built out of 1,000 tiny moments of neglect. Every time one of them chose to look at a screen instead of each other, that was another brick in this invisible wall getting built between them. And this is a perfect example of how that wall gets higher. Priya walks in, she's had a rough day, and all she wants is to connect. She reaches out, she says, "I need to talk." And Arjun gives her that classic distracted reply, right? "Yeah, tell me, I'm listening." But his eyes, his whole attention, it's glued to that phone. So she just turns away. What's the point? The conversation is over before it even had a chance to begin. Okay, so now we get to the part where that tension finally boils over. Because eventually, that invisible wall gets so big and so solid, you just can't pretend it's not there anymore. And that's when the silence finally turns into a fight. And there it is. In the middle of an argument, this is what Arjun says. And it just reveals everything, doesn't it? In his world, he's doing his part. He's providing, he's paying the bills, but he's completely missing what she's actually asking for. She doesn't want his money. She wants his attention. It's like they're speaking two totally different languages. Priya's reaction here is, it's just heartbreaking and so telling. She doesn't yell back. She doesn't argue her point. She just stops. And it's not because she's given up on this one argument. She's exhausted from the whole thing. She's tired of trying so hard just to be seen, just to be heard. And this leads to a new kind of quiet in their house. It's not an angry, tense silence anymore. It's what you'd call a resigned silence. It's the sound of defeat. It's what happens when someone finally concludes that their words just don't matter, so they might as well not say them at all. And finally, she lets it all out to her friend Kavita. She says the one thing she's been feeling deep down inside. It's not just a passing feeling of loneliness. She feels totally and completely alone, every single day, in her own home, sleeping next to her own husband. And if you want to put a number on that loneliness, well, look at this. 0. In 5 years. Not once. She couldn't remember a single time he had just asked that simple question, "How was your day?" It's such a small thing, but it shows how invisible she had become. But then, just as it feels like all hope is lost, the story pivots. We switch over to Arjun. He's having a quiet lunch by himself, and something is about to click. A moment of truth is coming. So picture this. Arjun's at his desk, just kind of mindlessly eating the lunch Priya packed for him. He's surrounded by people, but he feels that same quiet that's been suffocating their home. And then, out of nowhere, a memory pops into his head. This is what he remembers. A little note written on a scrap of paper tucked into his lunchbox from way back in their first year of marriage. So simple, right? Just a little reminder with a smiley face. But it was a sign that she was thinking of him, that she cared. It was a symbol of how easy things used to be. And that little memory sparks this huge question. At first, he thinks, when did she stop writing those notes? But then, a much harder question hits him. Or when did I stop noticing? And for the first time, he starts to realize that maybe, just maybe, the problem wasn't what she was doing, but what he wasn't doing. And then, it's like a light bulb goes off. He remembers something his HR head said in a meeting about burnout at work. But sitting there, it clicks. This isn't about work. This is about Priya. He has been making her feel invisible. That's why she's burned out. So what does he do? He pulls out his phone, starts to type, sorry, and then he stops. He deletes it because he gets it now. A text isn't going to fix this. His neglect wasn't a one-time thing. It was a daily habit. And the only way to fix a bad habit is with a good one. He had to change his actions. And that brings us to the final part of this story, a cup of hope. Arjun decides to do something. Not some grand gesture, but something small, something thoughtful, something that shows he's finally, truly paying attention. On his way home from work, he pulls over at a little coffee shop, and he orders 2 filter coffees, her absolute favorite. Now, this isn't about the coffee, right? It's a signal. It's a quiet little message that says, hey, I was thinking of you today. I see you. I remember. So he gets home, he hands her the coffee, but she's guarded. She's been down this road before. She takes the cup, but then she issues a challenge. It's one simple question that holds the weight of their entire marriage. Will you put the phone away? And this next moment is everything. He doesn't say a thing, he doesn't make an excuse, he doesn't argue. He just picks up his phone, walks into the bedroom, and leaves it there. That one single action was louder and more meaningful than any I'm sorry he could have ever said. It was proof. And so they sit there. Just 2 cups of coffee between them. But for the first time in what feels like forever, the real thing between them is attention. Real, undivided attention. Their problems aren't all magically solved, of course not. But this is a beginning. It shows us that sometimes breaking an unspoken silence doesn't start with a big conversation. It starts with one small, thoughtful act. And it kind of makes you wonder, what little silences in our own lives could be broken by something as simple as a cup of coffee?